People are going to manifest and build what their core is. And then notice the occultists at the higher levels want to make everybody low-level atheist and not believe any of that, so that blinds us. But at the top, the real top atheists and people are wild satanic Luciferians. We're going to skip this break, too, behind the scenes at Infowars.com. Michael, let's keep going because I mean, have you noticed and seen that the Theosophic societies and the Blavatskyites and the OTO people, when you get up to high level folks like take Dr. Pianka, I keep talking about, he's in a Druid outfit. He says I love Lucifer on his website, on the official UT website. He names his bison bull Lucifer. When you really get around these guys, they are into the occult, but then to their classes and everybody, they're making fun of anybody who's religious, anybody who believes there's other dimensions, anybody who believes there's more to the world. They go, oh, you're not of reason. And I see that as shuttering people from whatever humans are and, whatever this hunger for religion, shuttering us down here so they can operate up here with, as you call it, their sorcery, which is their mind control.
That's right. And many of these other organizations, you see, are like fraternal orders in which you have to pass through them in order to be matriculated to get into, what I would say, like what we talked about in the first segment about the Atonists, the true story of Masonry. They're not just going to hand that down to anybody. So they put, from the school level onwards, through all of these various occult and other organizations, you see, they're like steps on the ladder. I mean, even the Masons use the symbol of the ladder. You have to die into what you knew. You have to die to the world that you knew. And I believe this is a kind of insanity, a form of unsane insanity. And therefore, you have to sort of, they have a carrot and a stick approach in which you have to then matriculate until you are complicit and submissive enough so that they can then infect you with their infection. It's basically as simple as that. And until people strengthen themselves through knowledge, which is the only way to strengthen and have a spiritual connection to something, they're not going to be able to ward off
you talk about
these diseased people.
You talk about psychic vampirism. There is no doubt that's what this New World Order is.
Big time. We're doing DVDs. That's another DVD project we're doing right now. I believe that things are moving so fast that, and remember, as we said earlier, there's only so much of this knowledge that we study that people can handle. They're already balking and they're already, covering their eyes and screaming to hide under the bed. Even with the sort of lower level stuff about the Illuminati and the death of the Constitution, they can't even handle that, let alone things like psychic vampirism and war on consciousness. So, I tend to pace my stuff out there because I realize that sometimes, and this, of course, does not include everyone. There are people who are totally ready for this, but the masses of the world are not ready for this. So you have to sort of go slow and pace what you're creating and what you're writing about, what you're putting out there. You can tell them a little bit about it because the human race is so unready for a lot of this. There is an awakening taking place. But it's also a very natal situation.
Well, I know this. I go off what my gut tells me. I analyze the real world, what I can prove, but my gut tells me the human race is very, very old. The human race has incredible potential and is really going to go places if we can only move past this whole New World Order system. And
my main message in most of my work is to understand the nature of deconstruction. That moving forward is partly acquisitive and partly an active movement forward, but you also have to jettison. In anything that moves forward, anything that's going to progress, it also needs to shed skins. It also needs to jettison and deconstruct all the rubbish and all the miasma and all the webs, you see, of ignorance. Learning is a dual process. It requires you to clean, just like we have to wash our bodies when dust, accumulates and dirt accumulates. We have to clean our cars, our homes, everything, the plates we eat off. And people sometimes have forgotten this in their search for the light. They also have to realize that there's a lot of parasites, a lot of sharks, a lot of mosquitoes, a lot of, like we talked about earlier, a lot of darkness that comes around as you start moving towards the truth and towards the light. That's when the dirt is going to be shining up. That's when you're going to see the dirt for what it is. You can't say yuck and run away from it and hide. You got to know how to take out the right kind of detergent to deal with the dirt, be it psychic or social or anything else. And in my work, the basic message to everyone is you're not going to have legal, social, political sovereignty or any solvency until you've got it mentally and spiritually.
All right, stay there. Here we go.
Documented. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
I fell into a burning ring of fire.
I take myself as a microcosm of a journey of awakening. Some people misinterpret what I'm doing as fear. No, fear would put people in their box in a catatonic state, in a fetal position, not moving forward. Why has Alex Jones, for all my foibles and problems, why have I been the most effective? And I think that's universally pretty much accepted even by my detractors on all fronts. is the most effective at waking people up? Well, it's because I reached out to the people of the United States and the world and taught them and showed them how much power they had and how much they could do to wake up others. And that's why it's you, the listeners, and the visitors of Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. So you judge a tree by its fruits. We have really resisted the New World Order, had a lot of victories against them, woken up a lot of people, and it's because I have passion, and I am aggressive, and I am angry, and I shake people out of the mesmerized position they're in with the TV and the culture to then just kind of like a cold bucket of water, ice water, wake them up and shake them out of that. And Michael Tsarion, David Icke, many others have also been very, very successful at doing this. So what are your ideas of how to fight this technocracy? I mean, I want people to see how dangerous it is and know what a great threat it is, so they will move out of the way of the threat and then over it and on top of it, and you know, to denature it. I mean, what are your ideas of how this revolution of human, consciousness, how this is going to play out, and what are your ideas in the solution?
Well, see, whatever you want to call it, God, nature has already given us the tools. It's called the human reason. It's called the human curiosity. This has built the greatest bridges. It has, created the shuttle. It has built the greatest nations on earth. It's built pyramids. We already have the hardware, the hardware within us installed. But what has happened is we've been conditioned to not use it, to doubt our own sensibilities, to doubt our own bodies, to doubt that we have control over our own lives and our own families and our own communities. And this has been this insipid drip feeding, you see, of the lie. I mean, I can back up and talk about what you just said there about being angry. And first of all, I do not have a degree in psychology, but I have studied the subject thoroughly, and I can tell you that you, Alex, are neither mad nor paranoid, and that you are a person who's got the guts to stand up and be as mad as hell, who can channel their anger positively. And this is what is needed. Maybe go back to the movie Network. You got to be as mad as hell. You got to fall in love with the word no. You got to ask questions, and you got to do it with anyone else comes to help you do it or not. And this is very vital. As I said, Ulster men from my country fought in the War of Independence. Now, this war, to me, is still going on. And people need to be armed up because something is shooting at us. Something is taking away that which is most precious. And therefore, something has to be done. And you have to be as mad as hell. But you also have to channel that madness and that healthy anger and be armed up to fight this kind of tiger in the long grass. It is not something that's going to make itself known. You could easily shoot in the wrong direction, you see. So people need to be armed up with knowledge and education. And I will not stand in my life, you see, which is happening a lot, I see in the world, that these people who come into this subject, either they're bandwagon hoppers, or like we said, there may be debunkers or whatever, or they may just be a bunch of intellectuals who try to come there, with the same rules that they knew in the college and the university and the mainstream, jumping through the hoops, and then they come into this world and go, where's your qualifications, what kind of books and DVDs have you written or done, and they want to territorialize this knowledge, and they want to make you jump through the hoops. And my message,
I've always told, just like you do, the average person, take action, be a leader. It can do incredible things. And the enemy hates that I tell people that they're empowered individually. They try to misquote me and misinterpret and claim that I'm saying that people don't have power. No, I'm saying you do have power. You do affect change. You can change the world around you.
Well, you see, back one of the earliest mottos of the ancient Irish is very simple, and it said in Gaelic, but I'll in English, it is deeds to match words. And this is the fact that here we are in a situation of colossal attack on the human race. We are literally dealing with the death of America if we're not careful, at least the death of the America that was known and built by the forefathers. And people are sitting there passively and twittering and howling and screeching about meaningless crap. They got to get up on their damn ass, is what I say. People do exactly what you're doing. So I'm hoping that people will model themselves on you. What happens when people watch? What was the reality back in 1950s? People like me in Britain, Alex, grew up watching the Humphrey Bogart, movies, the Jimmy Cagney movies, when people in America looked you right in the eye and told you where to get off. What the hell happened? How did everything become so politically correct and so asinine?
Well, notice the mainstream media always tells us, be passive, don't be aggressive, don't stand up for yourself. But meanwhile, the government is aggressive and pushy towards us. They're letting us know they're the boss. Wow, Michael Tsarion is our guest. This is so important for the InfoWars streams. I'm going to skip this again, come back for everybody else in just 3 minutes. This is the one, the only GCN Radio Network, and MichaelTsarion.com is the website. I'll be a routine guest here on the show. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Okay, Michael, when we come back, I want to plug some of your books and videos for the full audience. But in the last 30 minutes when we come back, I've got to plug a few sponsors as well. What are some of the final things you want to discuss?
Well, let's just talk about I want to give people a heads up on the DVD that's coming out. It's actually a series. We're making like 2 or 3 in the series. It's going to be on technology and basically focusing on the future, because, there's one thing to critique what's been going on in the past. It's like my focus is now on where we're heading, and it's very much that this technology used wrongly is going to be one of the major clubs in the hand of the global elite. Well,
what's happening is incrementally, they are intensifying the poison in the shots, in the water, in the food, the frequency pollution, which they admit is really hurting people, the cell phones and the wireless and all of it.